We're all set.
Call the December 22nd, 2025 Planning Commission meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please call roll.
John Marshall.
Here.
Daniel Hayden. Here. Chad Jeffries.
Here.
Joe Sanders.
Here.
Mike Conquest.
Here.
Laura Sauerman. Here. Rich Deck.
Here.
All right, all 7 members are present this evening. Next item of business would be approval of minutes. Minutes were circulated in your packets. Any corrections, additions, deletions? I'll make a motion to approve. We have a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
We have a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, call a roll, please.
Dan Haley.
Yes.
Chad Jeffries.
Did you call me?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, yes.
Joe Sanders. Yes. Mike Conquest.
Yes.
Laura Sauerman. Yes. Rich Deck.
Yes.
John Marshall.
Yes. There's no old business on the agenda tonight, new business. 25-39, Crown Point Community Foundation petitioner, Crossroads YMCA owner. Request is for a change of zone, OS1 office services at the location of 12410 Marshall Street.
Mr. Marshall, I'm gonna recuse myself for the next two petitions.
Okay, let the record show that Rich Day has recused himself from discussion of the next 2 petitions, 2539 and 2540. I believe you're a member of the board. Rich,
What's that?
you're a board member?
Yes.
Okay. All right. State your name and address for the record, Jeff, and tell us what you want to do.
All right, my name is Jeff Ban. My office address is 1155 Troutline Road. I am here before you, not as a member of DVG team, but also as a member of the Crown Point Community Foundation Board of Directors. I've been serving on the building committee for quite a number of years now. Tonight, I'm here with the Crown Point Community Foundation with Mary Nielsen. Mary is our president of the organization. And next to Mary is Mike Dexter. Mike is the president of the board of directors. So we've got a good, any questions related to the foundation? Those are the 2 people that are going to answer this for you. Next to Mike is Russ Posen with DVG team, and we'll get into some of the details of the plan that we're proposing in the next petition. And next to Russ is Tony Piquet, our design build contractor. He'll be at his firm, Chester Inc. will be designing and also constructing our project. I have to tell you that this is an exciting day for the foundation. For quite a number of years, we have been under an analysis of how we grow and how we more serve the community of Crown Point and South Lake County. As you may recall, the foundation was created in the early 1990s. And for over 30 years, I think Mary just shared with me, have made about $20 million worth of gifts to public organizations, private organizations, not-for-profits, school kids, et cetera, et cetera. And I know many of you probably have experienced and have been a beneficiary some way, somehow, of the work that the foundation has done. Over the last number of years, like I said, we've been looking at many alternatives for a new location currently. And for the last 15 years, we have been in the Chase Bank building, renting about 2 fairly good sized offices, but we have a half a dozen plus people in 2 offices, and it's getting uncomfortable as we continue to grow and serve. And I think before I go a little bit more about the details of our petition, I'd like to have Mike Dexter come up and just talk to you a little bit more about some of the details of what the foundation has done over the past and what our growth and why we need this building location and how we're going to continue to serve the community.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. Just thought I'd share a little bit about what our vision is and kind of what we're trying to do. We've been looking for about almost 5 years now, planning ahead of trying to figure out what this Crown Point Community Foundation, what we need to have to function and continue to serve the people that we serve in the community. And one is we want to be able to grow our business, so to speak, our foundation, but we need to have people inside the offices to help us do that. Because right now our capacity, as Jeff mentioned, is just, we're kind of tripping over each other. And one of our goals is to use interns to help out in the summer times when those are available. We don't have room for even to hire somebody as an intern. We just don't have any seating. So we did due diligence throughout the last 4 years, kicking tires, looking at facilities, trying to figure out what would work, what doesn't work. We looked at a lot of facilities that we could have made work. Naturally, we're going to spend a lot of money to make it worthwhile. And the more and more we looked at them, the more we thought we need to have our own facilities, kind of control our own destination. So as Jeff mentioned, we've dished out about $20 million over the life of the foundation. We're in our 35th year of distributions, over 7,000 recipients of grants and scholarships that we've issued out, and from people in the community like yourselves. And we appreciate all the support you've lent us over those years. But one of the things we do as a foundation too is we help educate other 501c3s and how they can help grow their own businesses. We can't do that. We have to use like the library and other facilities to invite those organizations in to do some of those events. So our vision is to someday have a nice facility where we can put on those events in our own shop. So with that, I'll just open it up. If you've got any questions, I'd be happy to answer, but pretty straightforward, the building that we're putting up, and we're excited to be able to one of these days move in and move forward and with our expansion needs and be able to continue to serve more people. Hopefully one of these days. Right now we're at about $35 million is where, or no, 46 million is where we're at right now in total assets under care. So with a little help, one of these days, we're hoping to be pushing $100 million in assets, which will allow us to serve so many more people in the community. So with that, I'll leave it up to Jeff.
Thank you, Mike. On your agenda, there are 2 items for us to present to you. I'm going to talk to you about the rezone. That's item number 1. We have a contract to acquire 6.27 acres from the Crossroads YMCA on Marshall Street, South Court Street, right north of the St. Jude home. We are tonight, first item on the agenda is a public hearing to take a formal action. Our current zoning this property is R1, and we're asking you to rezone tonight it to office service 1. And I'm going to share a exhibit here for you. All right, I'm not sure how well you can see that on the screen, but there is a red rectangle right where my cursor's at, the red rectangle. That's the 6.27 acres. It is halfway between 121st and 125th Avenue. And we are in an area that is pretty well built with existing offices and business type uses. To the north of our site is the impact area, north of a kind of a wetland area. This is the impact services building, office building. Here's our 6.27 acres. South of us is the St. Jude home. South of that is the 2-story multi-tenanted professional office building. South of it is several other professional office buildings and dentists. Walgreens is on the corner. And here, of course, is the Crossroads YMCA campus. And this is everything else is the old Crown Point Franciscan Health acute care hospital, which is now getting repurposed, and a number of office uses are on there and have been there for many, many decades prior. So we think from the perspective of how we fit into the character of the neighborhood, our office service zoning request fits right in to all of the uses through the corridor of Court Street between 125th and 121st. The building that we're proposing to build that Mike was making reference to, and you'll see here in the next petition when Russ gets up here to show you, is about 4,600 square feet. I have about 10 offices, a conference room, some intern spaces, as Mike indicated, and also some just employee service locations. It's a not a real big building, 6.27 acres. We don't know really what we want to do with the balance of the property, but over the course of time, our mission is to serve the community and have uses on this piece of property. We'll do just that, as it'll be here to serve the Crown Point community and also the South Lake County campus. We submitted the required adjacent property owner certified mailings. We also published in the local newspapers the public hearing notice as well. So we are able to hold the public hearing in accordance with your agenda. It's our argument that the change of zone is consistent with the comprehensive plan. There's nothing in the comp plan that says that this shouldn't be something like what we were proposing. Granting this change of zone is consistent with the current conditions, the character of the current structures and uses of the district. Again, very like uses in the neighborhood. The property has the proper utilities to service the site, has the proper topography to serve the site. So we think it's consistent with the current character of the neighborhood. The change of zone is the most desirable use for the land in which this district has been adapted. Again, we think that the office service use zoning is better than a single family zoning, which is currently what it's zoned for, R1. I don't expect to see anybody really wanting to build, single family homes, meeting the single family ordinance requirements in this corridor. The change of zone conserves property values. We are building a 4,600 square foot building that we think by the time we're done with building it and equipping it, we'll be spending over $2.5 million. And those are values that are consistent with what has been built in that corridor right now. And then lastly, the change of zone does represent, in our opinions, responsible development and growth, that being consistent with all the other uses is what we should be. So with that being said, again, this first petition is about the use of the land, so that we can get to our second petition to talk to you about how specifically we're going to use the land. So if there's any questions, myself, Mary, Mike, Russ, and Tony are here to answer them.
Good, thank you. Josh?
Crown Point Community Foundation is requesting a change of zone for the area of land approximately 500 feet northwest of the intersection of South Court Street and West Burrell Drive. Current zoning for the properties are R1 residential, with the proposed change going to OS1 office services zone. While the property is surrounded by R1 on all sides, the use of those properties fall within professional services and recreation uses, making the proposed change consistent with the use and the zones around it. If approved, the Crown Point Community Foundation is looking to construct an office for them to utilize on the property along Marshall Street, with the rear portion of the parcels to be determined at a later date. All notices have been properly sent out by certified mail. Notice has been published in the newspaper. Planning Department has received no letters of remonstration or support. Planning Department recommends approval of petition 2539.
Okay, we'll bring it to the board for any questions or comments from board members. Anybody like to go? Mr. O'Haley?
I'd just like to thank you, Jeff, for the exceptional job you did on the findings of fact. Right on the money. Couldn't have done them any better myself. So, very good.
I've learned from you the best.
I just think that's a perfect, it's compatible with the zone.
Thank you.
I think it's a good thing. Fine.
Mike?
Yeah, I agree with Dan. I think it's a perfect fit. You spelled it out well with the businesses to the south. When you guys talked about what could be in the future. So I even looked at permitted and special uses.
Mhm.
And they all work. They all work with the exception. I wouldn't want to see a drinking establishment there, but other than that, I think it's a good fit.
Thank you, Mike.
Anybody else?
Is the whole parcel that you got outlined in red, is that the full 6 acres?
It's the entire property that is under contract to acquire from the Crossroads Y.
Which is the 6.2 or whatever
Exactly
we said
right.
acres?
And I would tell you, it's probably 2/3 it's buildable. The other northern third is in.
That's what I was
the
wondering,
wetland.
if that's a
And
wetland.
the reason that we have the wetland is the north property line that the Crossroads Y has. Just in the discussions with the Y, they wanted us to take all the way to that north. They didn't want a little cutout piece. They wanted us to have everything to their north property.
And then is the thought, I know you said you're not sure what you're gonna do with the rest, but is it to come back in and subdivide and do some, or is it probably not, just,
I don't see that. I think
expand
it's
your
gonna be,
campus
to
as
Mike's
it's-
point, accessory to the primary use of our corporate office. When we did go through the planning process, and we went through the budgeting process, we found out we couldn't afford what we wanted. And what we wanted was the corporate administration building that we were gonna be talking about in the next petition. But attached to that, we wanted a nonprofit academy. Mike talks about how Mary and her team goes out and educates other nonprofits on how to operate as a business. And she's renting places like the Avalon, or she's renting places like the Crown Point Library, and rents out the big meeting rooms. And that's where they have those instructional workshops on teaching nonprofits, no matter what they are doing, how to be more successful. And we thought having a kind of an event center, which is kind of geared towards nonprofit education, that's what we would like to do. And again, we need to be able to walk before we can run. So really, that's probably, if one of us wins the Powerball in the next day or two, maybe we'll get a big donation to do that. But we don't have that money to do that, so we're going to put that off to the side, and that may not happen for quite some time. And if we're lucky enough, maybe it'll happen sooner than we think. But those are the kinds of things that we expect that maybe what helps again promote Crown Point and South Lake County, which is our service territory.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else have a question for the petitioner?
Real quick, yeah, so for years, the signs up, were advertising a possible athletic field park. So that's gone. But you answered one of the questions I had. You have to be conservative due to budget. I thought
Right.
It seems like a tight building, but working within your means.
Right. Trying to work within our means. Again, we have a very small operating budget right now with 2 little offices, and this is going to make it, I can't remember what the factor it is, but it's a lot. Just, paying the electric bill and plowing the snow and things that we don't have to
Where are you
do.
guys now?
What's that?
Where are you now? Where's your-
Chase Bank Building.
Oh, in the bank?
Yeah. Yep, and been there since 15 plus years, Mary.
15+ years.
Anything further from any board member? At this time, we're gonna open a public hearing. This is a public hearing. Anybody in the audience would like to come forward and state your opinion or have a question about this petition, please do so now. State your name and address for the record and your question or comment.
My name is Jordan Morantz. I live at 12323 Cedar Lake Road. My question is the area that you guys have outlined in red, I'm sorry, the picture's just horrible. That's the entire 6.7 acres?
Correct. 330 feet east, or excuse me, 330 feet west of Court Street and about 827 feet in the north-south direction.
Okay. So my question is, what's going to happen to the rest of the property over there that was originally supposed to be the soccer fields and baseball fields and stuff like that for the Y?
Well,
Do you know?
go ahead.
Let me answer.
Oh, yeah, please, let's all hang out.
Y doesn't have immediate plans for that property. They're still trying to determine from their business plan what it is they want to do with that property.
Okay,
And so right now, there are no immediate plans.
so they're just talking about selling this portion to you guys.
That's correct. That's correct.
Do you guys plan on building this under a labor union or labor agreement?
Not a project labor agreement, but this Chester is our builder, and they understand that union is very important to our project. And so we expect that this project will be a union built project.
I don't have any more questions. We're good.
Thank you.
Same question, so I can't really see from over there. Can you just point out, is it that,
Yes, actually, this one's a better one.
yeah, it's much clearer.
than that one. Spread triangle is
Okay.
our 6.27.
Okay. Okay, I have just a couple questions. My name is Carrie Lemire. My address is 620 West Burrell Drive. So you said there's going to be other uses for the property in the future. What other, besides your building? Are you planning with other buildings down the road?
No. At this time and for the very near and midterm period, our building will be just 4,600 square feet, corporate office to house about 8 people every single day. And that's what we're going to be doing for probably the next 5+ years. I talked about the nonprofit academy, which would be another building about the same size of, as our office, not that big.
On the same lot?
On the same lot, they would most likely be connected to our building. It would just be a building extension. But again, that may never happen. But right now,
Right.
our only use is for our corporate office,
And then what are the hours of your operation?
8 to 5.
Monday through Friday?
Monday through Friday.
Can you point out on the map, like, do you have an idea of where the building's gonna sit, where parking is gonna
The
be?
building right now is positioned on the southernmost portion of the property.
And with parking in front, behind?
Parking in the front. Parking, you'll see the parking lot. The building will be west, the parking lot will be east, and then you'll see Court Street.
Just so
You'll see that here in another.
Just so you know, man, the next petition is a workshop that is basically what you're talking about now, where the building's gonna be, parking, the entrances, all that
Mhm.
stuff. So,
Okay,
so don't leave immediately.
Yeah, no.
after this. You wanna see the next part of it.
and you said the rear portion of the property, you have, there's possible future plans for the rear you said there, at a later date, there may be other
Yeah,
uses.
so,
What are you talking
again,
about then?
Our immediate plan and for the next at least 5 years is our office.
Right,
And if things go really well, we might have an office addition that would be an event space for about the same square footage that would house an education area where we would teach other nonprofits how to operate business wise.
and that's, where would that be under?
I have no idea. It probably grows to the north, and you'll see the site plan here in the next petition, and you'll see that with better relativity.
Okay.
Okay, anybody else in the audience or on Zoom would have a question?
Nothing of mine.
Okay, anybody else in the audience have any questions or comments about this petition?
The only question I had was,
Can you state your name and address? for the
Scott
record?
Spiro, 12405 Cedar Lake Road.
Thank you.
I see the proposed area that you're gonna buy, and it said that the corner of it is wetlands. I thought wetlands were not to be sold.
No, you can sell wetlands, you just can't build them
Well,
unless you
I mean,
mediate them.
I was told you couldn't even buy the wetlands.
Oh, you
I
can,
mean,
you can buy wetlands.
I've lived over there for quite a while, and I've questioned about getting property back there, and they said wetlands were not for sale. You couldn't purchase.
I don't believe that to be true. I have to talk to the staff or to my attorney. but
Okay, I was just,
I believe you can buy anything if you have enough money, but. you might
well,
be-
yeah,
you
that seems,
might be-
that
you might
seems
be
to work.
limited to what you can do with it.
Just had a question about that.
Oh.
Thank you.
Anybody else in the audience have any questions or comments about this petition? Once,
I
twice,
have one more quick question.
All right.
Sorry. When all that property was donated to the YMCA, it's wonderful, they were new fields, soccer fields, whatever. I was told, because like Scott, I had inquired previously about the wetlands area, and I was told that when it was donated to YMCA, that part of the agreement was that it would never be sold, it was always gonna be the YMCA, so they weren't selling anything. You know anything about that?
well, that
That's
would
what I
be
was
up to
told
the
by
board,
some at
that would be up
YMCA.
to the YMCA. I don't know if anybody from the YMCA is here tonight. I guess Jeff would be the best guy to ask about that.
We are not aware of any condition on the property, and we have a legal document that allows us to transact a purchase and sale agreement with the current landowner. And what has happened in the past and what they can or can't do, we're not aware of that.
Okay. All right, anybody else in the audience have any questions, comments? Opinions about this petition? Once, twice. 3 times, we're gonna close the public hearing, we're gonna bring it back to the board. Anything additional from any board member, or anything you'd like to clear up, Jeff?
I think we're good.
Any board member?
President, I'll make a motion to adopt the findings of facts of exquisitely prepared by Mr. Van and making favorable recommendation to the city council.
Okay, we have a motion for a favorable recommendation, second.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Anything further? If not, call a roll, please.
Dan Rohaley.
Yes.
Chad Jeffries.
Yes.
Joe Sanders.
Yes.
Mike Conquest.
Yes.
Laura Sauerman.
Yes.
Rich Day. Oh,
Rich.
sorry. John Marshall.
Yes. Been approved 6-0.
Thank you.
All right, next item of business, new business, 2540. Crown Point Community Foundation petitioner, Crossroads YMCA owner, requests a workshop. Purpose is office space at 12410 Marshall Street. Now, the purpose of the workshop is for the petitioner to present their idea to the planning commission, getting comments from us or the public about what they're proposing to do. And then at that point, they'll make a decision whether or not they want to come back and make a formal presentation. So they're going to make their presentation first, and then we'll allow any questions or comments about, this will be about the putting up the building. So what the building will look like, parking, access, all that kind of stuff. Go ahead and state your name and address for the record, Russ, and tell us what you want to do.
Will do here. Let me get a little bit clear here. Let me get to shared. Come on. Man. Maybe some assistance how to share this screen. Doesn't want to see it. Yeah, how do we share? This one's a little different. All right. There we go. So this is the same area that we were talking about before, but I'll get to the site plan and the building here. Let me kind of scroll down. There we go. So this, I think, should help a little bit. So thank you for letting us have a little conversation for this project as a workshop. I'm going to go over the site layout and the building layout and just kind of give some of the things and maybe even help answer some of the audience about the location. And then we're going to show you kind of currently what we have as the building facade. Obviously want to get some comments from you about that. The north is to your right. So that is Court Street on the bottom, and St. Jude, the property is at the south property line. That is St. Jude's north property line. So the location of this building, again, it's the 4,600 square feet. We have parking adjacent to Court Street, and what we're proposing is an access drive here on the south part. And these two dash lines, and it may be slightly different when we come for plat, but we're intending to make that an ingress egress easement so that access will be allowed to go to the west, which is that existing YMCA property. So that property is not landlocked. There is still a well over 100 linear foot piece of property on Burrell that property has access to. So we're not never going to landlock it, but again, we're going to be able to have capability coming off of Burrell in the future and an ingress egress easement that you'll be seeing when we come in here for plat. The parking here is about 37 plus spaces. As you heard from the previous rezone petition, they only have 6 or plus employees, but when they have boardroom meetings, obviously we'll use that whole parking lot, and if they are successful in expanding, that parking lot can keep going to the north. Wetlands were mentioned. This red line up here, that is the existing wetland property limits. We are not going to build in there. Our detention basin will be over in that area. That is the lowest part of the property. If you recall, if you drive around Court, the property is kind of elevated a little bit. So we'll utilize that area to discharge our stormwater to that existing wetland area, which is the low part of the property, and it's the existing natural drainage location anyway. So it makes a lot of sense. We have met with the city, and they do require us to improve Court Street to city standards. So we are showing a right turn lane into our development to obviously just get to our development and to get to the future. So We'll have sidewalks part of the subdivision. So, again, Jeff mentioned that the utilities are here, water and sanitary is south on Court Street. So we'll be bringing those to the property. So I think this is nice layout. There is ample space, but they obviously may need it for the future growth. So I want to kind of talk a little bit more about the building. So the building, we're proposing a hip roof, which is consistent with some other buildings to the south. I mean, the St. Jude is a hip roof. They have a gray vinyl siding, but what we're proposing is all brick. So it'll be brick and cast stone. They don't have the colors selected yet, but the Centir is a lighter brick color. The Walgreens is a lighter red. So obviously we'll present colors that match the surroundings, but it'll definitely be brick. So it'll be the utmost quality and to the city standards. When it comes to building material, I think it looks real nice and it will fit in quite nicely. So I think hopefully we've shared enough from a site and a building perspective to give you some thoughts that you can share with us, because obviously our next steps will be subdividing. We're looking to do that hopefully February for the primary, and then March for secondary and site plan at that time. So just moving on to the next meetings.
Okay, thank you. Now, the staff won't have any comment about this because it's not official. It's not official receipt yet. So we'll bring it to the board for questions or suggestions, comments.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Mr. Roy.
First, you're gonna take all the frontage there. Now, the property in the back is still gonna be owned by the Y,
Yes.
all the way back there, including the pond and everything. What is the combination that you're gonna make where people come from Court Street to get to the back of that property? Is there gonna be a street there or something, some access point off of Court to get to the residual part of it?
So this, we'll be designating this area right here where our drive is. That is going to be a platted ingress egress easement.
Oh.
Yep. So we will have access and utilities there. So we'll bring utilities, sanitary and water, and this drive here in the easement so that when future development comes, it'll get extended in an existing easement. So yeah, they'll have access directly from there, and then there is still access off of Burrell if any future development needs it. And again, we don't know what future development will be there.
Because they own one of those parcels.
They own all those parcels.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the YMCA owns all these
Oh,
parcels.
so they wrap around. So there's no-
Exactly.
even if you did-
Yeah, we are not landlocking anything.
That was my only concern. I think the project looks good. I think it's-
Yeah, to maybe thoroughly answer your question here, and I don't think I can zoom in too much, but this piece right here in the middle, that's YMCA property. This sliver here, which goes all the way to the existing, lake and all the way up to there. That's the ultimate of all the parcels combined are about 21 acres. So we're utilizing 6.27. So yeah, there is no landlocking. It's plenty ample space. Obviously lots of wetlands, but ample space for other developments.
Thank you.
Of course.
Right.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Roy. Anybody else with a
You get
question or
sidewalks down
comment?
in there, so.
We got sidewalks on
Yeah.
Court.
Good job.
We know the rules. We know the rules, guys.
Okay, anybody on this side?
Yeah, Russ, so you got going from north to south, you got the right hand, whatever we'll call it, decel lane, right turn lane in there.
Yes.
Is there some, and maybe this is the cart ahead of the horse, maybe we're waiting to see what happens to that next property behind it, right? But as this whole thing fills in, is there anything for coming from south to north? A center left-hand turn lane where traffic can bypass?
There's already existing
So
center
that's
turn, left
existing?
turn lane, yes.
Okay,
Court Street already has that.
you don't gotta do anything. It's perfect.
Hold on, wait, you'll get a chance here in a moment. All right, anybody else from the board? Okay, at this time, we're gonna let the public ask their questions or comments. So at this time, if you'd like to come forward, state your opinion of this, that would be welcome.
Where's right now, you said there's a left-hand turn lane? Where
Court Street itself already has a center turn lane.
Oh, you're talking about Court Street. I thought you
Court
meant another entrance to that
No,
property.
no entrance, just one
So when
entrance.
you were talking about the, future ingress egress here,
Yes.
because doesn't St. Jude owns this property?
There's another property.
Right, but how would you get to that from here? and around St.
Burrell.
Jude?
Borough has
but-
access.
Right, but this is a very narrow,
Hold on a second, let me zoom in here.
so do you know what they're doing with that?
No, you don't know. There's nothing. Let me zoom in here.
So you would have to get permission from whoever ends up with that,
No,
right?
hold on. So-
Okay.
Okay. So to kind of holistically answer this parcel in here,
Mhm.
this is owned by the YMCA.
Mhm.
This parcel, YMCA, this parcel, and this parcel. So the parcels themselves, so access to, let's just say back here for any future development, we are leaving an ingress egress easement access from Court Street to get back there. And if a future that could satisfy, I mean, obviously you get a variance for if it just stays there, but these parcels here, most likely would be subdivided in their own lot. And this piece right here would be a part of the lot, and that has frontage on Burrell, so it has access to.
Okay.
Right,
But
so
you don't know what,
there is no development there, and there would not be any permission to do so. That would be a legal conforming
Okay.
lot with access to Burrell.
the drainage, the water drainage, you said, where is it going to go? Is it going to, because right now, I mean, this is the low spot,
This is also a low spot. to
but
the
which is
property.
it going to go to?
Ultimately, it all goes northwest.
Because all of this drains into this,
It
this
all-
drains into
It all
this,
eventually goes there. So we are.
which it
consistent.
all, these guys know too, because all of that, we've been dealing with this for 15, Scott, and you guys way more than that. There are properties here, because I have a property here, have been just ruined from,
This
flood.
development meets, City of Crown Point's stormwater
but
ordinance.
this isn't, but these are not city, or they're not within the city.
We are legally required to provide detention basin, which we will be doing.
Where at?
It's on the north side of the park. The
Show
north-
me right,
the north. The north.
because that's the current wetlands.
We will be.
So what would you
We have plenty of room to build a detention basin away from the road.
And where would the water that's in the detention basin go?
It's held first
Yeah.
and then discharged towards the wetland, because that's. a
Okay,
layer.
but again, that all goes directly to this,
We're
which
allowed,
goes directly
we're allowed
to.
to discharge them.
Any other, I mean, so.
We meet
ultimately,
the
I agree-
ordinance
I
and we do
get
not,
that.
we're legally, we are not allowed to increase stormwater runoff from existing conditions, which we will not be doing.
But that's just to your detention pond that you're making, right? Because eventually it's all gonna go to this.
It all existing,
I mean,
existing goes there now.
Because I know, but right now our properties have been damaged because it's
We
so.
we will be following ordinance.
Right,
And we do not discharge anything more than.
No, I
what's
get it.
there.
It's just sad because I know you're following the rules there, but our properties, because so much has been blocked this way with all the, development, that all the properties here that are listed, they're just damaged.
Well, to be honest with you, with him developing a lot, I mean, I'm not speaking for Russ, I'm not an engineer. But if he holds the water and releases it at a more steady rate, it'll probably help your property instead of all running in there at one shot.
Yeah, but there's gonna be more.
There
I
there
don't know.
won't,
We detain it more, really slowly at a controlled low rate. We do not make conditions worse, that's by law, by ordinance. Stranger's law, we're not making conditions worse.
What does it mean?
and all the, they haven't done engineering, they haven't done the engineering yet because they're trying to
Okay.
figure out if they want to continue on with this.
Okay,
But once the engineering is done, it's all public record. You can
yeah,
talk to the engineering department or Josh Watson, and it's all public record. You can have copies of it. Look
yeah, and
at
I
it.
get all that. Just
You know.
keep that in mind too, because it all just go, I mean, we've just been dealing with this for years.
Have you addressed your concerns with the county?
The county, the Army Corps of Engineer, the Attorney General, yeah, it's been a long, long battle.
Yes.
Bill Emerson hates us.
Can I, ma'am?
Yeah.
And the gentleman that talked about the wetlands, look, I appreciate your concern, especially with the current federal and state. I mean,
Yeah.
they're totally decimating
I know.
wetlands.
I'd like to see it be preserved.
And
yeah.
wetlands are extremely important for a lot of reasons. I'm gonna get over my skis here. Jeff, don't prove me wrong, but DVG is probably one of the few engineering firms, when we see plans, that does a nice job with this. Now, if I were you, I would stay committed and stay in touch with Russ and Jeff, but they do a nice job. I mean, they even put places for concrete washout on their drawings. You don't see that, and that's a requirement. So again, I appreciate your concern, but you're working with a pretty good group of
And I
people.
appreciate that. And I hope, but we all know like one subdivision here, one development here affects going down. And we are the downwind of this one. I mean, our properties have just suffered, and any more water. I mean, I can show you videos of, every spring, just, I've got a gully washout right now. I just don't want it to be. So just keep that in mind.
Of course.
Anybody else in the audience like to become involved in this workshop? I think you had a pretty good spokesperson. Anybody would like to add anything? Anybody at the board like to add anything additional? Josh, anything from you?
Yes, sir.
Well, this being a workshop, hopefully you have a pretty good idea of what needs to be done. And make that decision of how to proceed. Please file it, and we'll see it at
Thank
a
you.
future meeting.
Hi, Commissioner. Merry Christmas to everyone.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Okay, next item of business, 25-41, Cap Development LLC petitioner, Cap Development LLC owner requests a workshop. Purpose is R2 residential at 14002 Grant Street.
Mr. Marshall, I'm back.
Oh, yeah, let the record show that Rich Day has rejoined the plan commission. And as you heard from the last workshop, this is get feedback on your project and decide what you want to do.
Perfect. Good evening, Plan Commissioners. My name is Michael Herbers.
Hey, excuse me, can you guys go to the hallway, please? No problem. We can talk all night out there. if you want. We just want to be fair to all the petitions.
Trying to get my USB to open up real quick. Trying to get the video. Little technical difficulties, but we do have handouts. Anyway, my name is Michael Herbers with CapDev LLC, 10769 Broadway. Here on behalf of the, pull it up for me.
Sure. See if it works.
Here on behalf of the landowners regarding the 270 acres in the quadrant of 133rd and Grant Street. I was in front of you guys recently to rezone the northern portion of our development. Again, it was plus or minus 70 acres from R1A to R1. It was asked what the plan was with the rest of the parcel. And after careful consideration, working with the planning department, we feel as though we put a pretty good plan together to rezone the rest of the development to R2 with some variances to allow for different lot sizes. So Nick, my colleague, will pass out a handout. Oh, and we have share screen. Thanks, Ben. So in front of you and on the screen, you will see the remaining parcel of land, again, plus or minus 200 acres. On the top of the page, that is Grant Street, and then further to the left will be 133rd. In front of you, the two green sections will be 80-foot wide lots. So those meet R2 plus some, so those will exceed the R2 ordinance. The red portion, we are going to go in for a variance on lot size. Those will be 70-foot wide lots. Again, 70 by 135. So overall square footage of those lots will still exceed the current R2 ordinance of 80 by 90 foot wide. And then in the blue section, we will have a single family detached cottage home portion as well. Instead of going in for R3 zoning, we did decide to stick with R2 overall and then request a variance for 52-foot wide lots there as well. So with that being said, again, we do feel as though this will continue this project moving forward with good intention. And while planning this out, we did decide that there is another builder group that we would like to partner with, who is here tonight. And I will introduce Eric and Matt from the Pulte Group, who will kind of present their company, how they operate, and their vision for this parcel as well. I will bring Eric up.
Good evening. See if this works. Yeah, this is the desktop. Great. Thank you. Good evening. My name is Eric Friedman. I'm with Pulte Group out of the Illinois office. We're located at 1900 East Gulf Road, Suite 300 in Schaumburg, Illinois. With me this evening is also Matt Brawley with Pulte Group. We work for the entitlement team for the Illinois division. We're looking forward to an opportunity to commence work here in Crown Point. Pulte Group is a national organization. We do have an Indianapolis office. They're mostly focused on communities south here in the state. We've been looking at Northwest Indiana as a growth opportunity for some time, and we'd be excited at the chance here to come into Crown Point and work with you all. And so this would run through our Illinois office as part of our Chicagoland effort. I wanted to share some background on our company. Pulte Group is a nationally publicly traded company. We're a home builder. We're the third largest, both in the US and in Chicagoland by annual revenue. We deliver our homes under multiple brands across the country. Our Illinois office is focused on Pulte Homes, and the Del Webb communities are the two brands that we bring to the Chicagoland region. We have been delivering the top-selling new home community in Chicagoland for each of the last 4 years running, which we feel is a testament to our focus on putting the right products in the right place at the right price point for the community. That means last year in Chicago area, we closed on 930 homes in 2024. And here as 25 draws to a close, we're approaching 1,000 homes closed this year, seeing annual growth year over year. I have a map here that gives you an idea of where we're active today around Chicagoland. We tend to focus our efforts on this ring around the city of Chicago, where we're predominantly building for the move-up family buyers. We're also selling to many active adults who are looking to downsize within their current communities. We're active from the north suburbs all the way up in Lindenhurst, up there near the Wisconsin border, down to the south suburbs in New Lenox. We're always looking to develop within the area's top school districts, which is one of the big reasons that we're attracted to doing work here in Crown Point, which has a great reputation there. As was just mentioned by my colleagues from Diamond Peak Homes, we're looking to take over a portion of the development for the area previously discussed as Capstone. And we're proposing to develop that as what we would call Preserve Point, which would be our development on approximately 200 acres out of around 265 total acres. In this area, we're proposing to build a total of over 470 single-family homes. Preserve Point, by way of orientation here, would have direct access from Grant Street on the east and 141st Avenue at the south. And then there would be a connection through Capstone that would get our residents up to 133rd Avenue on the north. The site plan is likely to evolve as we move through engineering, but here at our concept stage, we think we have a general plan that should roughly hold to what you see today. We wanted to talk this evening about our product that we plan to offer here, how we as a builder operate, and some of the points that we think make us maybe different or unique from other builders that might be active in the area. To start, as was just seen with the zoning exhibit, each of those different zoning areas that were shared represent a different product type and a different series of homes that we would build and sell here in this development. So we're proposing to build a series that we're going to call the cottage homes. These are ranch homes designed for 55 plus residents. These would be west of a central pond and immediately south of the Capstone development. These are ranch homes with slab on grade construction that have an option for basements if a buyer wants one, but the base home in this part of the community would be slab on grade. These individuals would have the benefit of a low maintenance home, meaning the snow removal, yard maintenance are taken care of by the HOA specifically for this 55 plus community, kind of in the middle of the development here. Next, the blue area that you see here, which is the largest area in the site plan, those are what we call our meadow homes. These are both ranch and two-story plans with basements as standard. These include larger lot widths that can accommodate options for a third car garage if buyers are looking for that feature. These include many of Pulte's most popular plans, and these represent over half of our lots here at Preserve Point. And then the two opposite corners that you see in yellow on this map, these are the estate homes. The estate homes are the largest lots that we'll build in this community. These still include a couple of ranch homes along with two-story homes. These are still on basement as standard. Several of these models include 3 cars standard in the home, and those that don't still accommodate an additional garage option. These also include many models that have larger double height spaces within them in terms of the living space inside, which is a feature that we can afford to provide in the larger size homes. So across all of these series, I've mentioned ranch homes, all of the ranch homes in any of these 3 series also come with an option for the buyers to add what we call a loft level, which is not a full second floor. It doesn't raise the perimeter walls of the house, but up within the roof height, there's a partial floor plan available for a loft area where buyers could add bedroom and bathroom oftentimes with a flex bonus room that can serve as a TV space or game space or study space as they see fit. Up next, I wanted to talk through briefly our product matrices. We have a product matrix or product listing for each of these series. So what you see before you is that in the cottage series, for example, we've got 4 floor plans. The meadows we're showing 5, the estate series we're showing 6 plans. All of the plans on this exhibit that are in purple font for the model names, those are ranch plans. The remainder are 2-story plans. You'll notice that we have a range of sizes for the square footage. We have a range of bedroom counts. We have a range of bathroom counts on almost every one of these plans. The reason for that is the optionality that we offer our buyers. We're in the business of building homes in such a way that they feel semi-custom to our customers. We're not building on spec and deciding in advance what the next whole row of homes is going to be and look like. We'll build to what people want to purchase. That includes options that we'll take a look at in a little bit for them to add living space, for them to add bedrooms, for them to add bathrooms within their home plans. So here on this page, you get a sense of the range for each plan, but there isn't a specific floor plan equals exactly this description because of that optionality. So next I'll run through some example elevations. I don't have elevations for every version that's going to be available, but just to give you an idea of what the homes would look like. each of our floor plans on the prior page will have anywhere from 4 to 7 elevations available for it. So we've got several floor plans available in each series. Each floor plan has several elevations available. This really helps to break up the experience of driving down our streets. So architecturally, you have much more variety than even the number of plans might infer. These are the 40-foot wide cottage series homes. These plans offer 4 to 5 elevations each. Within the elevations that I put on the page here, you get a sense of the different detailing and use of materials that we would make available. Because we also build under the Del Webb name. Del Webb is a nationally recognized leader in designing premier active adult communities with resort style amenities. The Del Webb floor plans we're able to also lift and bring to Pulte developments. And so all of these models are models that are also available when we do a Del Webb community that we can make available here. These homes will feature vinyl lap siding as the primary material, but we do plan to include at least some level of masonry on every elevation of every home. So these all have what we call a masonry wainscot, or that bottom about 3 feet of space is brick or stone across all of these elevations as a minimum. These also include, in addition to that lap siding from the vinyl product lineup, we can also get shake appearance siding material and also vertical batten style siding. So we can use a mix of siding products to help break up the feel of the facades as well. Next, I have some sample meadows elevations. These meadow elevations are, again, 40-foot wide product. These homes are all built on a basement. We have the Abbeville on the screen here is one of our 2 ranch plans in the Meadows series. And then the remainder, as you see, are the 2-story products. And I wanted to include this elevation of the Continental in the bottom right to show, in addition to the wainscot detail for the brick, we will offer versions of elevations that bring up the brick to a higher point. So here you see the brick going the full height of the garage and in one of the architectural bays on the house. And then the last series are the estate series. These are the 50-foot wide homes. The Renown elevation that you see in the top right is one of the 2 ranch plans we would offer in this series. Both the Westchester and the Renown here on the top are showing you the 3 garages standard within that 50-foot home. They have 3 garage door capacity on the front of the house. The other 2 that you see here, which are the Riverton and the Willwood on the bottom, those are 2-car garage door, but both of those plans have a 3rd car capacity by way of tandem parking inside. So the left side of that garage space is double deep on both of those floor plans as part of the base. I mentioned earlier that we offer a range of elevations for each plan. I wanted to share one example of a model with multiple elevations. So this is the Willwood model from that estate series. And this is showing you the different looks and feels that you can get from the one floor plan with a variety of elevations. These elevations are changing the extent of the masonry. We're changing roof forms. We're changing siding materials. We're changing the window count and their placement. We're jogging the wall in different ways, which actually drives slightly different floor plans just to get some different expressions on the front facade. And we're also changing the entry porch size and the column styles to give it a different feel. So these are all the same floor plan. Our intent would be that these all act as though they're separate elevations when it comes time later to look at anti-monotony, trying to keep things broken up and down the street. We would anticipate that 2 of these homes could sit next to each other, and even though they're the same floor plan inside, they look and feel like different homes from the outside. As far as Pulte's current work and places that folks could go to see our product firsthand, if that was of interest, I wanted to share a little bit more information on some of our current work. So this is another map showing mostly the west to south suburbs and where we're currently active. Each of the little circles or dots on there is one of our communities that's either currently in early development or active development, meaning open for sales with homes being built. But I wanted to talk about a few of these in particular where you see the stars and where you see the labels in case folks wanted to get out to them. So Tearling Lakes in New Lenox, Illinois, that location, that community is going to include 490 total homes when it's completed. That's one of our newest communities to open. They just grand opened last month. So if anybody were interested to see what does a large property, prior farmland look like when it's early in development, when it's first opening for sales, we do have model homes that just opened here in the last month. Those include the Newberry and the Willwood models are available to go out and take a look at, and you'd see kind of how we present our sites when they're early in development.
Which one was that again? Sorry.
That's Tearling Lakes in New Lenox. The second one I wanted to mention for you all is Polo Club in Naperville. That one's almost 80% constructed. That's a community with 261 single-family homes. There we are also offering 136 townhome units. We have two different models there that are open to the public. The Waverly and the Westchester models are both available there. And then the third one that I marked on this map is Bronc Farm, which isn't too far off from Polo Club. Bronc Farm's in Plainfield. It's about 70% constructed. That community hosts 332 single-family homes and 118 townhome units. That community also has a central community center for their residents. And again, we have two different models that are available there. There's a Continental and a Riverton model. So across these three communities, you could see three different Meadows series homes and three different Estate series homes. And if they're not open yet, Tearling Lakes, which will also offer some 55+ ranch homes, those models, I believe, are set to open soon, or they may have just opened. So those will be available to see as well. Next, I wanted to talk a little bit about our buyer options and how those work. I mentioned before that that leads to a range of sizes, a range of bedroom counts and bathroom counts, etc. So I wanted to give you a chance to see how that looks. Again, I picked the Willwood just as a talking point here today. So on the screen right now is just the Willwood base plans. And some of the features you see here, again, are that the garage space on the left side is actually double deep. So that gives you that tandem spot behind the primary parking spot. This plan also shows on the second floor that there's a loft at the bottom center of that plan that is sort of at the top of the stairs. It's a common area before you go into any of the bedrooms that can be used for TV space, homework space, that sort of thing. And then the top right corner of this plan on the second floor shows open to below. That's because this is one of the floor plans where the living space below is a double high space, which is a nice feature. It gives you a chance to have really tall windows into your living space. This is all base plan for the Willwood. What I'm going to show next are some of the options on the Willwood that buyers have the chance to look at. These are options, we call these structural options. Many of them literally are changing the structural framing plan for the house, changing the foundation walls of the house, changing exactly where and how the house can fit on the property, leading to different square footage, different counts, etc. One of our options offered on most of our units is what we call a 4-foot garage extension. That brings the garage wall forward 4 feet, effectively giving you 4 more feet of depth in your garage for individuals that are looking to store maybe more yard equipment or need more storage capacity in a garage. That's one of the common options. This also shows an option on the left side where you could take over that tandem parking spot, not use that for parking, and build that out as another bedroom suite. So that gets you a bedroom, an attached bath, an attached walk-in closet. That's a common feature at that first floor for in-laws, for a guest room suite, etc. So that adds functionality to that area besides the tandem parking. Off the back of the house, we're showing an option for a sunroom, which again, many of our floor plans offer a sunroom feature on the back. Those are typically 10 feet deep, sometimes 12 feet deep. That adds another small living space off the back of your primary living area. The sunrooms are surrounded with windows and a glass patio door to create a really nice sitting area and again, additional living space. When we go to the upstairs, there's actually an option with this plan, even though the base plan is that double high living space, there's an option to fill in that floor. Again, that adds square footage to your home. That's most often used as, and we sell it as a game room. It can also be a sitting area, a TV area. So you have an option to create living space there. Our owner's suite normally has a certain location for that exterior wall that lines up with that great room wall. There's an option to extend that further back because our cafe on the first floor sticks out a little bit. You can actually bring your owner's suite and extend that out so it lines up with that cafe bay below. And then lastly, that loft space that I mentioned on the second floor, there's an option to make that a bedroom. there's an option for the adjoining bedroom to get its own bath. So with all these different features, this is why we don't want to pre-build these homes. We're trying to offer a lot of optionality to our buyers, give them ownership over the decisions of what do they really want in their house, where do they want it, how do they want to live. Just to give you an idea of what they look like on the inside, these are some examples from one of our Willwood models where you can see that double high space in the top right. You can see that these are open plans that fit today's buyer profile. We like to emphasize high-end kitchens with nice islands. The master bath image in the bottom left shows one of our upgraded baths where you have both a soaker tub and a walk-in shower. So this gives you a sense of kind of how the interior of our homes look. So with that, I wanted to just kind of roll back to some points that we think set Pulte apart from some of our competition. We, again, are doing lot-specific permit plans starting after a sale, not on a spec basis. We're incorporating a range of these structural options. We have an ability to release our lots on a limited basis, so we're not selling over hundreds of lots wherever somebody wants to go. We control what lots are currently available, because that leads to a control of our construction sequencing and the experience both for our construction teams to be working in a limited area and for our residents once they start moving in to not be too interspersed with new upcoming construction after they've already been living there for some time. We offer high-end interiors. We have desirable open plans. All of our elevations will include masonry. We pay careful attention to our landscaping. We think that's a good selling point and adds a lot of value driving down the street and seeing our communities. We believe we have architectural distinction in the way that we treat our elevations and the different features that we're implementing. We have a high touch rate with our buyers throughout the process, meaning that they are very involved, not just at the sale time, through their selections process, through pre-construction, construction, before closing. We keep in touch with them frequently, and they're always aware of kind of where their home is at and how things are going. And then another comment that I put on here, just because I've seen a lot of this in the community, we typically do not allow vinyl fencing. I think that presents kind of a big solid plastic wall appearance across many communities. We do require an open picket style aluminum fence in our communities, which keeps line of sight a lot more open across the community. And then my last thing that I want to touch on is our anti-monotony process or practice. When a community does not have requirements that are more restrictive than this is what Pulte kind of self-imposes on our communities, again, to make sure that we don't have the same house over and over again. So what you see here under elevation restrictions is that a particular elevation for one home being sold, it won't match the elevation on either side across the street or kitty corner from it. That's kind of a boundary that we set where we don't want to see that same elevation again. And then likewise, in terms of color packages, even if it's a different style and different elevation, we don't want to see the same color package next door to the home or across the street from the home. So these are some guidelines that we put in place for our communities. Again, we'll work with municipalities if they have other or more onerous requirements. So with that, happy to take any questions from the team.
Okay. Mr. O'Hara.
Can you give me the ranges on the different products that you have, like cottage home, the sales price range, just ballpark?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so we often look at our base pricing, which is what we can put on a billboard and attract folks with. We also project rough average sales price once somebody actually selects the options, picks their elevations, whether or not they want additions, et cetera. So the cottage homes, we're anticipating a base price in the low 400,000 range, low 400s, with an average sale price in the low to mid 500s. The Meadows series homes, we're looking at a base price in the the high 400s, with an average sale price in the high 500s. And then our largest homes on this development, the Estate series homes, we think their base price will be the high 500s, with an average sale price in the low 700s, depending on the model. The ranches might be the high 6s, the 2 stories in the low 700s.
So the cottage homes will be age restricted, that area?
Yes.
Okay, tell us what you're gonna do for us, what amenities will be in the development.
So this community would include walking paths around many of our open areas. If I go back to our site plan. So there's a large detention area at the middle of the community that'll have an open park immediately adjoining it. So the entry road that comes in off of Grant Street, our intention is that that dead ends at an open park where you see the pond behind it. We anticipate that that will not only provide for a nice arrival point for our residents coming in, we think that's also a benefit to the community, that in terms of the walking paths and how everything ties in, the sidewalks will come in and give you access to then paths that would loop around the pond. And then further to the south from here, there will be paths of open area for the engineering required overland flow. We'll typically have walking paths along those areas as well. So it's not completely blocked off by solid home lots. There'll be openings for paths to cut through.
Clubhouse, no pool.
No, sir.
barbecue pits, no hunting greens, no.
Correct, everything you just
mostly
listed.
walking paths.
That's correct.
The cottage homes, 85 units, 52 by 135, is that correct?
Yes.
No asphalt driveways, right?
Don't know that we've gone through that level of detail yet. We would follow local code.
Hate to see that, so. Make that, all concrete then. There's nothing worse, you know, we went into this one development, it's really nice, and they're all asphalt driveways, it just brings hope. We hope you would consider that. Well, I'm just disappointed that there's not more amenities in there. I watch several other plank missions in other communities, and they fall down all over themselves and bring amenities in. Winfield goes out of their way, St. John goes out of their way, Cedar Lake even, and they even bring in a lot of amenities that would justify maybe the smaller lots. And I understand the crunch you're in, you know, land is not cheap. I think the amenities, I think Crown Point is a community that we want to be the beacon or the star in the center of all this. And I think we need to do better than just walking paths. That's just what
Appreciate the input.
that's all I got.
Okay, Joe.
Got a list for you, yeah. For the CAP group, just a quick question. Why Pulte? What brought you to that decision?
To be honest with you, the whole non-speculative build does bring a high value to this area. The fact that they're willing to sit down and work with the customer from start to finish, that does give that semi-custom feel to, you know, homeowners, where, you know, spec homes are nice and needed, but you don't need 4 or 5 large builders just throwing up specs left and right. Again, to Eric's point, it does give the homeowner, again, a feel of homeownership. Yeah, when you buy a house, you know, you do own it, but the fact that you can pick everything from soup to nuts, you know, start to finish, you do put your personal stamp on that home. So, you know, with their quality and with their elevations and floor plans, we do feel as though that is a great builder for the rest of this development.
So that's a good point. So what drive, the market's gonna drive that. So what like keeps you from putting up too many spec homes? What's the percentage? What do you try to get the interest in this neighborhood? And
Our goal and our typical achievement is no spec homes. It's not our business model. There have been some, and the ones that I've seen are most often buyers that back out. So even though they go under contract, we might start a foundation for somebody and they pass away, they move, that whatever reason, we're left with a home that we need to find another buyer for. So I'm not going to say it's zero, that it doesn't happen, but it doesn't happen by design.
for your full basement homes, steel beam and column construction,
Yes,
not frame, not.
correct. There's not a load bearing wall at the basement.
Excellent. Exterior wall construction. What is the,
We follow code. Most typically it's 2x4. We've had a couple of communities where for higher insulation requirements, if they're on newer energy conservation codes, we've seen 6-inch walls required in limited communities, but we're most often 2x4 stud walls.
16 in center?
I believe so.
Foam insulation, loose or foam?
Don't know our insulation type, do you?
In the walls, I don't think it's blown.
Yeah, I've not seen us do any blow in. It might be bad.
Yeah, R factor.
Yeah, so R factor of the exterior, you know,
I don't have that information, no.
falling code, I'm sure.
Yes.
So how much custom do you do if a homeowner comes in and sees one of your designs and
So
you like to keep
So we
within
provide the
parameters?
feel of semi-custom. We're not truly giving them carte blanche to design something on their own. So as a high capacity builder, we've already, for all of the different features that I just showed you on that Willwood plan, for example, plus other ones I couldn't fit on that slide, we've already priced every one of those with our builder partners. We've already priced every combination of those. So whatever checkboxes that homeowner wants to make on that plan, it's already been priced, it's already in our contract. We already have the kit of parts ready to go in production for that home. So we're not letting them come up with their own design, but they can select a wide array of options that give them
Yeah,
the
the building's
flexibility you
unique.
get from semi-custom.
So, but if a homeowner came in and said, I want flooring. I want flooring, do you accommodate for things like that?
I don't believe we have in-floor heating as one of our features. I've not seen that before in our homes.
And then the window manufacturer.
It changes every 2 years based on purchasing contracts. I don't know who our current
I know
supplier
you got
is.
a good leverage of buying both, so. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Rich?
So you talked a lot about, communication up front with the home purchaser and,
Yes.
and steps throughout. And so, in the past, we've had, developers that, promise a lot of good things up front and through the process and then didn't deliver. And that's my biggest concern is once the process is done, after the sale's complete, like what do you do to deal with defects or warranty issues or problems with the home? Because it's easy to just move on to the next project. And we've had a lot of people complain about builders and not follow up and this and that. And that's a big concern. And the prices you're talking, I would think these people are going to be pretty picky when it comes to
They
closing
should be,
time.
absolutely. Yeah, no, this is a big investment. This is hopefully a house that's gonna last them a very long time. We have teams that operate on site within each of our communities. We have a sales team trying to make the sale. We have a construction team getting the house built. We have an on-site customer care team that's effectively warranty support and maintenance support for that 1-year warranty that every buyer gets when they close on their home. So we have folks who are on site all week long that are doing nothing but keeping up with warranty requests coming from our owners. They're familiar with the community. They're there all the time. By being dedicated to that community, they know the homeowners after a while. They know all the plans. They know how everything should be. So they're very quick and responsive. If there's a call that says, my oven hood's not working, I've got a leak in my bathroom, can you come look at this or that? We've got folks on site ready to come out. And then our tradespeople, again, we expect to be about a 6-year build out process. Our tradespeople that are out there building also have staff available that can come over and help the warranty team if it's something that we can't fix with our own hands.
Do you feel that the process could be better?
I don't.
Is there
think-
room for
I
improvement
don't
on
think
that
there-
aspect?
Yeah,
or-
sure. No, I don't think there's anything about the work we're doing that we're completely happy with that we don't want to improve on. So we are looking to improve that every year. We have another thing that we do in addition to being hands-on with our buyers is also being almost aggressive with surveys. So we're always giving feedback. We're always looking for feedback at each step of the way that we're interacting. We're asking, how did that go? What do you think? Our surveys for our warranty team have been improving year over year steadily for gosh, at least the last 5 years now, and we're still striving to do better year over year. There's nothing that we rest on our laurels and say, we're great at that, we don't need to do anything better. So I certainly don't think it's a weakness of ours. I think it's one of our strengths amongst a lot of our competitors around Chicagoland. But I'd be lying if I said there wasn't room for improvement.
What do you think the expectation is if something is found unfinished as somebody moves in? I mean, what's the turnaround to get it corrected? Do you have like a company standard of what you set the team, expectation wise? I mean, if everything's done right, which I mean,
Sure.
mistakes happen. So like, how quickly can you turn around getting people out there and getting it really completed?
I don't know if we offer that as a standard promise. I'll say it's fast, but I can't tell you that it's always a 48-hour time window. I think 48 hours is a goal, but it depends on what needs to be done. It depends on the urgency of it. So in a community with hundreds and hundreds of homes, the ones that are deemed to be more impactful, somebody's new furnace isn't working, is a lot more impactful than somebody doesn't like the way the tile looks behind their sink. So depending on the nature of it, probably drives some of the timing on our response.
I just being new to the community and, I want to set the expectation of, the accountability that we want to have when somebody comes in and puts a new project in. And, we as a board, we don't want everybody screaming at us,
Yes.
because things aren't getting done and people have paid for their home. And, it's great to say the communications up front and along the way, that's fantastic. But I just wanted to make sure you guys you got a team of people who are going to follow up if people have issues after the fact.
We absolutely do. And again, we feel that's one of our strengths, especially in comparison to folks that we know kind of work on either side of us in a lot of the neighborhoods that we go into.
Anybody else? Yeah, Mike? Question first. Now you guys canceled, but we were given material on this 2 months ago. And it was going to be presented as a PUD. Now that you're changing it to an R2, are you planning on coming back and trying for a PUD?
No, we went from PUD to R2, again, after speaking with the planning department, we felt as though it was a more crisp and clean way to zone the property as opposed to zoning the whole piece as a PUD, since a lot of the lot sizes do fall under the R1 category. And then a good portion falls into the R2. It's really just a slight portion of those cottage home lots that was, more R3 sizing. So we decided R2 for the remainder with those lot size variances that we'll be requesting.
Okay, thank you. And then a couple of comments, and I'm going to make a couple of assumptions here. The first assumption is when this came in as R1A, typically property either stays agriculture or comes in as R1. R1A is a bigger lot. This is out in the country. This is country living, okay? And again, I didn't look at lot size, but I'm going to make another assumption. I think of Whitehawk. I think of Ellendale. I think of even like Feather Rock. I believe they're all R1 for the most part anyway, and came in that way. And those are beautiful subdivisions, and they have been highly successful. I guess I'm going to say, guys, I can support residential out there, but I can't support R2. You know what? I guess had I known all of this was coming, I don't even know that I would have gone with R1 when it was presented to us last month, but I'm not going to backtrack on that. So I can't go for anything less than R1.
And I guess, Mr. Conquest, to touch base on the Whitehawk and Ellendale neighborhoods, to your point, they are beautiful neighborhoods. They were developed well. They have great quality homes in there, but they also do have subsections within those communities of different lot sizes as well, which is what we're looking to do here. Now I understand it'd be great to build all on 100-foot wide lots, but that doesn't attract everyone in this community and of course, you know, in this area. So we do have to get creative with, you know, different lot sizes, different layouts, to not necessarily expand the buyer pool, but again, to reach buyers that, you know, want a lot that will fit their wants and needs.
Yeah, I understand that. And to your point, yes, there are some hidden areas that came in later in and stuff like that. Lake Street, Ellendale did some, you know, townhomes and that. But again, this is country living. And it deserves better than this, you guys, okay? And believe me, I'm not trying to be haughty here. I live in a subdivision that's, you know, R1. And even 80 feet is, you know, you get to know your neighbors pretty well. Nothing wrong with that. But I know this is Indiana and we're talking about Wisconsin. My old college roommate, one of my best friends, is involved in real estate, does a lot of appraisal work. And he talks about, I talked to him about some of this sort of stuff. And he goes, man, there's a small town in Wisconsin that has gone with just beautiful big homes. And he goes, that town has taken off and they have so many wealthy people moving in. And, you know, there's a market for everything, you guys. Just my feelings.
What is your density on this? I haven't seen it in any.
On the overall site or?
On the overall site.
Overall site, we are at, let's see, there's 602 units currently shown there on 265 acres. So is that 2.26, I believe, or 2.18, somewhere in there?
Looks like 2.4, 2.61, 2.41 units per acre is what they've got on this map.
Chad?
Sure. This all starts to run together after a while, but the gray area we see on the top left, is that the full all R1 that you came in, or was yours more sectioned up to sort of that just top rectangle?
That's the whole R1.
So you've
section.
got that whole gray area.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I will say a couple things, and I don't want to be redundant, right? Make this thing go on forever. But you know, I'm familiar with Pulte Homes. I've been around your work a lot. I work in Illinois a bunch. I'm familiar with Del Webb, which you brought up. One of the main things I had written down is what Mr. Rohaley said. I think what we're looking at in some of these communities now is we're looking at amenities, right? And just going, oh, we got a park that we can drive in and we see a park before we get to the pond. I mean, that's great, but that's pretty standard stuff, right? I mean, everybody's got a park. I think we are looking for things like, you know, a clubhouse, whether it's, you know, I don't know what your covenants are. Is it going to be, we don't let anybody have a pool, or we do let them have a pool, or maybe a community pool is what works. You know, putting greens, little spots to grill out, pavilions. I think that's, yes, that's the stuff that we've been talking to developers about, that is what's attracting people to these communities, you know? The 60-foot wide lots, or I'm sorry, the 52-foot wide lots, I'm not crazy about, right? We've had other developers come in here that have, you know, that are really starting to pitch this, going, well, we want to go R2, but then we want to get these variances and we want to have 52-foot or 50-foot wide lots. And I think, and I don't want to speak for everybody, but I think we've always came back and said, look, well, we're not here saying everybody's got to have an 80-foot wide lot, right? I mean, I will tell you that the 70 by 135, you're getting the bigger square foot than if you did 80 by 100, right? But I think we've kind of all said like 60-foot wide is kind of like the threshold where we don't need, we're getting pretty narrow, you know, where you can literally reach out and touch the neighbors' houses. So that's my opinion. And like I said, I don't want to speak for anybody, but I think the 60-foot was kind of where we kept the threshold on these cottage home types of developments. My other thing is, I think that Dan brought up, how is it that you keep the cottages at 55 plus? I mean, what if I come, I'm 53, what if I come in and say I want to buy one of the cottage homes? Are you gonna be like, nope, you're not 55?
Do you know how that works out?
Good question. My name's Matt Bryan with Pulte Homes. So we typically do the age restriction through HOPA, through the Housing for Older Persons Act. And then the HOA does regulate that. And they have to submit it's either 2 or 5 years, they have to submit compliance to the federal government that they're selling that. If it has to be one buyer in the home. So if you're 53, and let's say your wife is 55, then you would be allowed to purchase.
So what, and this is where I start to get in, I'm trying to wrap my head around this. So let's just say that I come in and I'm 55, right? My wife is 51. We want to buy the home, but we also want our 30-year-old son to move in with us with his wife and their family and their kids. Is there a restriction
Yes.
on the amount of people that can reside in it?
No, but there are restrictions on students. Those under 18 are not allowed to reside in the home outside of like an emergency 3 months on an annual basis. So it's pretty strict. And the HOA for like our Del Webb product, they're very intently focused on ensuring that their environment that they have is maintained.
Okay. I mean, and I'm asking because I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm glad you cleared that up. And I think Mr. Day brought this up a little bit too, and this is maybe getting the cart ahead of the horse again too. But I think as we're just kind of workshopping this and talking about it, if this were to move forward, I agree 100% that these asphalt driveways that we keep seeing get put in, by the time the moving truck comes out, you've got depressions where it was overloaded and we don't have enough asphalt in there. I would definitely like to see concrete driveways. I also know that part of your presentation was the fact that you guys are very happy with your landscape plans. I can tell you that every time we get these in, I usually bring it up and go, it always looks great on the architectural rendering. You got landscape lighting, it's got the greatest architecture in the world. And then we see it getting built and you've got, 3 bushes the size of a bowling ball and, some kind of bad mulch in there. And it just doesn't look good. So, I mean, I would really, I really want you guys to be aware the stuff that you're showing us, if this comes to a motion outside a workshop, I'll make a motion that's 3 pages long that we want this thing to look like this. We don't want you to show us, hey, we can put a metal roof on. And then when it comes time, like, we don't really do metal roofs.
Sure.
We can do board and batten, but board and batten's too much. And then it turns into everybody just doing regular vinyl siding. Our fake vents all of a sudden are undersized, right? It looks like in this one we should have, a 2 foot by 2 foot fake vent, and all of a sudden we come up with an 8 by 10. So
Understood.
I just want you to be clear that these materials that we're looking at, if this is to move forward, is, like and I'll be honest, I'm not even sure, are these like called corbels? Whatever they are, your little design things in your peaks, and
Sure.
they look good, right? But they cost money. I know it's easy to say we're gonna do this, and all of a sudden the buyer goes, well, look, I don't want to spend extra $3,000 on that. I don't want to do this, and then we wind up with.
It's our process and it's our intent that we will bring you all of the elevations before this is a formally approved, go ahead and start your project. We will bring you all of the elevations with all of the details. And those are what will go into our construction documents. Those will go into our purchase agreements with our suppliers. People won't have the choice to take out the detail. They might choose the lowest price elevation of the group. So one home might have 5 to 7 elevations available. Only one is the base price. So when we come in and they say the Willward's starting at X dollars, that buys you one of the elevations. The other elevations typically cost more. Not everybody can take that lesser elevation because of that anti-monotony. Once somebody takes it, the people around him can't have that same elevation, right? So we do push the detail. We do push for an attractive community. And it is built into our process, and we would get your approval on what it is we're trying to build, not bait and switch, for lack of a better term.
And once again, I mean, I hate that. I don't want you to feel like I'm trying to beat you guys up. It's just sometimes we learn from our own mistakes up here.
No,
right?
it helps us to hear your concerns as well. So I appreciate this.
And so, yes,
Just one thing I was going to add on that. So these aren't, pretty pictures that we had drawn up that we're going to turn into construction documents. These are our actual drawings. that the corporate put together on the national level that we've rendered them. So there's no editing to those without, city approval.
Okay. I mean, it's,
My one point on landscaping will be no landscaping looks on day one the way it will look at 5 years. If I were to go out and take real photos, many of these homes, if not all of them, that we're offering to provide here in Crown Point, we've been providing for a number of years throughout Chicagoland. If I were to go out and take pictures of homes 3 to 5 years old with these same elevations, with that landscaping, it would look different than it will on day one. So I would also just ask for that understanding
100%.
that
But I think you know where I'm going with this, right?
Yeah.
It's like I
the
just don't
quantity
want
and the type of plantings will be
like
there.
2 small
they'll grow
bushes and we just go, okay, that's it. And then
And
3
that's
months
what we
later,
see.
one's dead.
That's what we see in a lot of communities that we're competing with is that's why I brought it up. It's one of our pride points is a lot of people are doing some very skimpy work in that area and we don't.
Yes. And so I guess just to circle this thing out and round it out with you is, once again, I definitely agree with Mr. Rohaley that we need to look at amenities in this. I think we're very much lacking. We just talked about walking trails.
Yes.
And personally, I think the threshold of getting less than 60-foot wide lots is getting quite narrow.
I have a question for you on that, if I may. Is your concern the spacing between the homes? And maybe there isn't a single answer here, or is it the overall density of a community? And the reason I ask is the zoning allows a 5-foot side yard. So whether you put a 52-foot lot, a 60-foot lot, a 70-foot lot, we can by code build to within 5 feet of that lot line, and you're gonna have 10 feet between the homes, whether it's a big house 10 feet apart or a small house 10 feet apart. We're only proposing that smallest lot size for our 55 plus ranch community. Those are the smallest homes we're offering here, which feel the most appropriate to have that size lot and that spacing. As we go up, our Meadow Series homes, we're still offering 40-foot wide homes. So they will have more space. We're not going to take advantage of the fact that we can get to that 5-foot setback line, but it's really, I think, you mentioned feeling tight between or feeling like you can reach out and touch the other house. That's more a factor of the zoning allowing, I think, the 5-foot setback.
I don't disagree with you that I think maybe our zoning isn't exactly right on our side yard setbacks. Okay, so we could get into this forever, but I mean, we're literally talking if you've got 5 feet off, right? And we're talking about putting a nice landscape package in. By the time you put landscape around there,
There's not
you're
much
basically at your property line, right? You're in your little drainage easement there.
That's right.
So yes, you're very close to the property lines. I think the 5 feet is like, if you're talking both houses at 5 feet, very close. And quite frankly, yeah, density. I think that maybe just cutting the density down a little bit isn't terrible in that area.
Okay, and just for discussion's sake, we have found buyers tend to appreciate more usable yard space than side yard space. And so as mentioned, comparing, a 52 by 135 lot to maybe a 60 by 100 lot. That 60 by 1, people would rather have an extra 35 feet in their backyard than an extra few feet on the side between the neighbors where it's space that they're not getting much enjoyment out of. So we do typically see ourselves going deeper in lot size than communities have set up in standards by way of their zoning. And we do tend to squeeze a bit on the width to afford that extra depth for the buyers where they get more enjoyment out of the plant.
I'm just one guy in a workshop,
That's fine.
so yeah,
That's
just
fine.
take it for what it's worth.
Sure.
Sorry, I got something too. I'm wondering if the lack of more amenities has to do with HOA issues. Is each separate? 55 and over, are they their own HOA?
So there will be, we're talking about a development here that's even larger than just what Pulte would do, right? So our friends here at Diamond Peak, they'll have an HOA for their homes. That'll be separate from our HOA. So for starters, there's an HOA for the Diamond Peak development. There's an HOA for the Pulte development. There's a secondary HOA or sort of a parent-child relationship, a child HOA for the 55 plus community that still contributes into and is part of our overall Pulte HOA, but is specific just to the 55 plus community for the benefit of the low maintenance. So any
And
kind
landscaping.
landscaping, snow removal, those contracts that are specific to their community are handled just within their HOA, but they also contribute to and are part of the overall HOA that maintains the the walking paths, the detention ponds, the other public amenities.
That means if there were fancier amenities that we're talking about, clubhouses, then you gotta decide who's paying for what and who
Correct.
wants what.
Correct. And
With
there's
all these
also,
different socioeconomic.
Yeah.
groups.
I heard a couple of things this evening that deal with fire. Our HOA insurance programs are usually a bit risk averse. And so we typically don't have fire pits or grill areas for reasons of insurance concerns within our HOA. We find that offering those drives up the insurance premium to a point that the HOA payments are affected, that our HOA payments are more than the other communities' HOA payments. That becomes a differentiating factor for buyers. So
My example was just illustrative of other communities what they're considering and what the developer was offering. That was it. Doesn't mean
Okay.
you gotta go run out and get fire pit.
Okay.
I'm just telling you.
Sure.
More than part.
Okay.
You do have to put a fountain in the pond and name it after Mr. O'Haley.
Rohaley Fountain.
It doesn't have to be the, they tell every developer, it doesn't have to be the Bellagio water fountain program, but a fountain in retention pond.
And a plaque naming Mr. O'Haley.
No, yeah, I need the plaque.
If I can get it back, I'll be here for a minute.
Go ahead. Thank you.
The 60-foot minimum, would it be a deal breaker for me? 50-foot lots? And I'm over 55. So I still want a little more space. I would probably prefer the side yard to the deck in a no maintenance, low maintenance community. Again, that's just me, but as a planning commission sitter and a citizen of Crown Point, I am not thrilled with 50-yard lots. And also, the concrete driveways would be a deal breaker. They need to be concrete. Asphalt does not last well as part of the whole, unless it's done to city specs on the roads, and then it's not great. So anyway, those would be my two big things. The other things have already been mentioned.
Thank you.
I don't think I have anything additional to add. I agree with all my colleagues here. I think all my questions got answered, or questions got asked and answered, so I think the 52-foot lots are a problem. I don't have a problem with 70-foot lots. I think that's, I agree with Laura, down to 60 would be probably my minimum. And the concrete driveways seem to be, they seem to increase the home value. I think they've covered all. Hopefully you have a good idea of what we're thinking, so.
I do.
And you gave a very thorough presentation, I would have to
Thank
say,
you.
so it was quite good, to be honest with you. So.
All right.
I don't
We've got
think
some
you- I
homework.
don't-
We'll put our thinking caps on and look
Yeah, I
forward to
don't-
coming back and continuing discussions with you all.
Yeah, I don't think you tried to pull away punches there, so. I appreciate
Thank you.
it. Anything additional from any board member?
I don't think any of us are fighting residential in that area.
No.
I mean, that's
I agree with you.
appropriate for the area, certainly.
But
I
I like Mike's comment. This is the country. I mean, yeah, I know real estate is expensive. But this is country. This is urban, downtown Chicago, where you reach out, get a cup of sugar from your neighbor and bring it in out of the window. I always go back, my fallback is the Stillwater condos or townhomes on the end of Broadway. 60 by 175, those things sold out like hotcakes, sold that development out. Still till today, I just saw one listed at 550. Those were 20, 25 years ago. They're nice. There's enough room in between them. It's not a big backyard, but there's a backyard. Probably doesn't even have to be 135, but the 60 is that's a really a good standard. And I went through and I looked at Whitehawks, I looked at Stillwaters, I looked at even Mike mentioned over at
Other rock?
no over at
Ellendale.
Ellendale.
Oh, no.
And those are 55, 60.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
even those
on
small
Lake
ones
Street.
on the north end, yeah, and those are 55. And they average out to be 55 to 60, so I think we're all right. And those look very nice.
In rough math, quick math, you go from 85 units to 73, so not a huge drop. Still be a good substantial amount of units. And then
I do think you have a very comprehensive, anti-monotony plan.
I appreciate that.
Thank you all.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Hey, do you have permission, have you talked to the state about coming in at like 137?
Yeah, so we do have a traffic study completed, which we are diving into deeper and working with NDOT regarding what that entrance looks like. Yes, sir.
Okay, we're now up to miscellaneous business. Any board member or staff have any miscellaneous business other than Merry Christmas, Happy New Year? Hope you have a good holiday. All right, anything else?